Ellie Finnegan looked up in awe at the twinkling blue Christmas lights lining the parade route through downtown Milwaukee. This was her favorite time of year, and more so since she had planned a family reunion between her siblings and their Callahan cousins on Christmas Day. She'd found her grandmother's diary in the attic and couldn't wait to share what she'd learned with the rest of the family. The Callahans and Finnegans shared the same set of great-grandparents, but their respective grandmother siblings had lost touch with each other, and now she knew why. Since she was looking upward, she didn't notice the guy coming toward her until she'd bumped into him. Flustered, she smiled and said, "Oh, excuse me." His gaze sliced toward her. Her smile faded at the hard coldness reflected in his eyes. Ellie genuinely loved people, and animals too, having made a habit of bringing strays home when she was younger. But there was something about this man that made the hairs on the back of her neck stand up in alarm. He wore a long, dark coat that went to his knees, his hands tucked out of sight. Their gazes locked for a long, uncomfortable moment before he turned away and merged into the crowd without saying a word. Evil. The word flashed in her mind, a weird sense of impending doom washing over her. But then she told herself not to be ridiculous. Tugging on her boxy navy blue EMT uniform, she quickly made her way toward the ambulance. She and her EMT partner Derek were on duty for the Christmas parade. The assignment was a relief, as the parade usually went off every year without a hitch. It wasn't likely she and Derek would have to deal with any actual injuries. Okay, maybe she was getting better at dealing with her irrational aversion to blood, but there was still that moment of lightheadedness she couldn't quite shake. Between that and the nausea that rolled through her abdomen, she'd barely managed to hold herself together the handful of times she'd been forced to deal with a bleeding injury. Normally, she spent her days transferring patients from one location to the next. The ambulance company she worked for had contracts with most of the hospitals and nursing homes in the area. It wasn't exciting work by any stretch of the imagination, but she'd been deeply grateful for the uneventful transfers. She really needed to find a way to push through this. The Finnegan family was all about being first responders, and she was determined to do her part. She'd already disappointed her oldest brother Rye after failing first to become a cop, then again when she dropped out of the nursing program. This career she'd chosen would work. It had to. There wasn't another option. Crowds of people packed both sides of the street along the parade route. She pushed through the throng, smiling at the memory of how her parents had brought her to the Christmas parade when she was young. Her parents had passed away 11 years ago now, and she still missed them, although she was grateful for her two oldest brothers, Rye and Taryn, who'd stepped in to raise her after their tragic loss.